Hello, everyone, and welcome officially to the inaugural session of our Mummy's Mask conversion for 2nd edition Pathfinder. My name is, of course, Jericho. I will be your GM for the foreseeable future. And we begin our story today in the city of Wati, at the confluence of the Asp and Crook rivers in the desert nation of Osirion on the northeastern edge of Garund. The year is 4713 AR, little in the past for those of you who keep up to date with our 2nd edition lore. We begin our story on the 23rd day of Galsrin, about a month into spring. It's a beautiful, sunny day out, and you all find yourselves in the marketplace, specifically called the Sunburst Market here in Wati, between the Grand Mausoleum and the Golden Lake, an open-air space where all manner of people from the city and its surrounding regions will come, set up tents, and hawk all sorts of wares to one another to purchase. But you all are not here for shopping, at least not yet. You all are here for a job. Over the last 7 years or so, the various tombs and ruins and all sorts of strange locations from Osirion's history have become open to the public to explore, drawing adventurers, collectors, historians alike to come try their luck and see what they can find. A bit behind the curve is Wati, in no small part due to the heavy influence of the Church of Pharasma here and its large necropolis. Only now is it opening its doors for people to come and explore. You all are one of the many adventuring parties that has arrived in order to try your hand at getting a place. Originally, many of you, I believe, were traveling alone, but with few, if any of you being natives, you met on the road here and built at least a small camaraderie that has turned itself into an opportunity for you to travel and search for treasure together. As you all stand in these open market streets with a veritable throng of locals also sort of crowding to the sides to get a look, I'd like everyone to go ahead and describe their character. And we'll go ahead in order of highest perception, because why not? So, between Apulo, Rialt, and Yasir, if one of you three would describe your character.
So, Seer is a fairly short Sphinx cat, so it's one of those hairless cats, and wearing fine, almost clergy-like robes, adorned with jewelry, just everywhere, rings, the works, with like no notable god, at least the most can see, but no weapon or anything like that.
All right, very nice.
So Rialt is a human young man. The only thing that looks odd about him actually is his eyes, and you can tell that he's not entirely human because they're not entirely a human-colored eye. He's wearing some lattice mail armor. Looks pretty armed. He's got a flail, a whip, some javelins, and he is a pretty mobile fighter. Um, he otherwise is relatively unremarkable. He's wearing kind of plain robes over the top of him, but by his manner, you can tell that he comes from a noble-ish family, somebody that knows which fork to use at dinner.
Apulo is a human, just a regular basic Betty human. He is dressed like a soldier and carries himself like a soldier, but doesn't necessarily have the crudeness of kind of a rank and file frontline man. He is fairly well spoken and well educated. And unlike most soldiers, can read and write very well in multiple languages.
All right. And let's not forget, of course, our fourth member of the party, Shael. Shael. I don't know how to pronounce it properly.
I'm not really sure either, but I guess we'll figure it out as it goes along.
Nice. Nice.
I think it's going to be Shay for sure, but Shael is, I would say, roughly average height, a slight tinge to the skin tone, marking a heritage that is somewhere a little bit different than the otherwise elven appearance. He is mostly wearing some like loose clothing. Has like a long staff as well as like a couple other like pieces of equipment that don't look like they've seen much use. He typically is very friendly, outgoing, those sort of things. And then he has a sort of winged snake that typically rests along his shoulders during the day, and then the two of them are able to kind of like sneak off and talk at night. He has a couple markings along his body as well, different like scrawlings with ink that do change day by day.
Oh, let's go.
Very nice. And we do have a fifth member of this adventuring group who has joined you all as well. However, unable to make it to session tonight, I will leave their character introduction until next week. Perhaps they're nursing a hangover at the tavern that you all stayed when you arrived yesterday, the Tooth and Hookah.
Right.
You clearly danced a little too hard the previous night.
Precisely. But today is the day. It is an interesting method by which the townsfolk and adventurers are being granted access to the necropolis of Wati to take a look. Instead of people pining for whichever specific tomb they would like to search for themselves, a method of lottery drawing is being used. This is meant to be as impartial as possible, and hopefully will leave you all a chance to find some treasure. This is not your only tomb that you're going to get access to. This will be a process by which you will gain access to 3 different locations that you are legally allowed to search, take treasure from, and resell or keep for yourselves to continue using. However, to ensure that not just the largest and potentially wealthiest of locations is searched, it will be a process by which you are given a smaller location first. After you have searched and finished your exploration of that place, you'll be given your second, slightly larger location, before eventually being given your third and final official location that you are allowed to explore. This will also, hopefully, prevent any conflict between the many adventuring parties that are here, as if everyone has a different location to explore, there should not be any conflict over treasure rights. We all know how explorers are, though, so there's a bit...
Everybody always follows the rules, right?
Right. There's a great big asterisk next to all of that. But as we approach early afternoon, the bustling city is near bursting with excitement today. Adventurers from every corner of the Inner Sea region have assembled here beneath the, quite frankly, boiling Osirion sun to explore the various tombs of the city's necropolis, waiting only to be assigned their first sites for exploration. Surrounding you all in this open market are, well, dozens, if not hundreds, of the city's locals gathering to observe the ceremony as well. It's almost a festival that you feel. That sort of quality belies in the air itself. Numerous street vendors are hawking goods and refreshments to both participants and spectators alike. A number of merchants have brought what can be, I mean, it's adventuring gear. You can't really mistake it for anything else. Trying to sell last-minute convenience to the various explorers, and others advertising already that they will buy whatever recovered treasures and antiquities that you find should you visit their establishment. The Grand Mausoleum of Pharasma itself stands directly ahead of most of you, a solemn testament to how Wati has recovered from the plague of madness so long ago, almost 1800 years ago at this point, if my math serves me correctly, carved from the sun-baked limestone native to the region, adorned with intricate hieroglyphs and symbols of Pharasma's divine authority. Twin spires rise towards the heavens, their peaks seemingly brushing against the sun overhead. In front of it, though, an immense awning has been erected between the decorated pillars in the market, providing shade for the priests of Pharasma overseeing this lottery. Beneath the awning, an elevated table sits a few feet above the ground on a wooden stage constructed for the event, capped by 2 clay urns. The high priestess of the temple, Sebti the Crocodile, a human woman wearing a black veil, blue lipstick, jade jewelry as well, currently sits behind the table, conversing with 2 other acolytes at either side. Surrounding your group, multiple small clusters of varying nationalities and races, most of them keeping to themselves, but some of these various teams of adventurers engage in quiet conversation with the other teams in their vicinity, from what you can gather, mostly speculating about what they'll likely face when they enter the necropolis. Do any of you wish to speak to one another, to reach out to your nearby adventurers, or do you wish to simply wait quietly for the ceremony to begin?
I would wait quietly, but Apulo will take out a book and kind of be recording both what the ceremony is like and kind of what is going on around him.
Rialt would be friendly with those around, but really more maybe doing like a threat assessment to see, is there anybody that looks like they're, from what they're talking or what they're saying, obviously planning on attacking the other parties, or is everybody around kind of look like they're on the up and up? So I think he's kind of scanning the crowd, looking to see if anybody's not being kosher.
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me a perception check. First roll of the campaign.
Woo!
There we go.
All right. Taking a look around the open market, there's probably at first glance 24 or so other groups. There's a number of people who are here for this. So all in all, maybe in the realm of 100 adventurers have shown up for this initial opening of the necropolis.
Okay.
Most of them are armed pretty heavily, though it is pretty easy to tell those who specialize in martial skill and those who very likely are of a more magical persuasion by the armor and weapons they carry with them. And a lot of these groups seem to have a pretty even split.
Okay.
You do clock wariness in the eyes of some others that is probably very similar to how yours look. It seems to you at the moment, though, that most people either truly don't plan to attack others or are good enough at controlling their expressions that in a much more public event like this, they're capable of hiding it.
Okay. Cool. Looks like a lot of competition, but I don't see anything overly dangerous.
I just can't believe how different everything looks here. It's amazing. Wonderful. I can't wait to explore.
As for Yasir, I would like to try to gather some information on like what everyone is trying to get or trying to avoid, basically, for the
Sure.
the different plots.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and give me a diplomacy check here, public. You probably won't get a ton because you don't have the full time frame for a general gather information, but you can definitely talk to who's nearby.
So I do take half the time on
Yep.
gather information.
Which would typically make that about an hour for you.
So public roll.
Yeah. And you can even use your basic action macros if you'd like. Just like that, perfect. Asking around at the various groups, I don't think it should really come as a surprise that the various people here are truly hoping for a tomb that they can explore. The necropolis itself is what was initially over half of the original Wati and has been turned into a large graveyard. But that doesn't mean the vast majority of the buildings are actual tombs there. It can be brothels, breweries, government houses, regular houses, all sorts of buildings are what people will be assigned to explore. So, from what you can gather, actual tombs and the government buildings are what people would most want to gain in this lottery. You even hear one or two people muttering frustration that they had been promised they would get one of those buildings, and it seems their hopes have been dashed by the fact that this will in fact be taken place through a lottery instead of directly bidding for places you would like to explore.
Would we know, obviously, Necropolis, dead city,
Mm-hmm.
does anybody actually live in there, or is the whole thing uninhabited?
If everyone wants to, you guys can go ahead and give me a recall knowledge roll to see what you know about the necropolis itself, since I don't believe any of you here are Wati natives.
Mm-mm.
And that will be in your basic action macros, which should be 2 on your hotbar. As long as you have your token selected.
Whoa, fancy.
So many options.
Recall now.
Okay. Rialt and Yasir, unfortunately, the two of you did not do much research into the actual history of the city before coming here. You know it's a necropolis. You know
Right.
that there was a plague about 1800 years ago that killed a lot of the people that lived here.
Clearly, ghouls just live there.
Right.
Right?
Sorry, it's not 1800 years ago. It was about 2200 years ago. My apologies on the math.
Okay.
You're not really sure, but Shail and Apulo, it will not put anything in chat when you roll it, for you at least. It'll remain entirely hidden and only show me.
Okay.
But that recall knowledge button is great. It'll do one roll, and then it'll show me practically all of your skills and what the value is based off of those skills, so I don't have to ask for a specific roll.
Cool. Just wasn't sure if it went through or not.
Shail and Apulo, the two of you actually did your research before coming here, and I think that's actually quite fitting for your characters and what you would do in a place like this. Wati is more commonly known as the Half-Dead City, specifically because of its history. About 2499 AR, so 2,214 years ago, a cult of Lamashtu in the region unleashed the Plague of Madness among the city's populace. It killed many instantly, drove the others to a murderous insanity. More than half the city perished within months of this. And it wasn't until around... here's where my 1800 years ago comes in. Around 1800 years ago, when the Church of Pharasma returned and decided to actually consecrate the entire city to the Lady of Graves, beginning this grand mausoleum as a new temple, and then creating the necropolis as a remembrance of what happened, giving actual burial rites to the thousands who died in the plague. As far as you're aware, it is possible that some people live here, but very unlikely. The necropolis remains pretty much entirely closed off to the public in general, aside from the rare occasion when someone who has an ancestor wishes to come and give rites or remembrance to their family member who passed.
So if someone was living in there, it's more they're sneaking in there than there's actual just like normal residences.
Very much so. A few of the gangs here in town might have temporary residences in the necropolis. They're the ones that primarily do unsanctioned grave robbing.
Sure.
But it would be odd to find someone who actually has a home and is actively living in the necropolis.
Perfect.
And Shail, what about you?
In terms, I would say probably I'd be looking over the individual that was like kind of like writing the notes to see what they're writing as well.
Sure.
Mostly curious to see what their observations are and how they're documenting it. Every so often, I might add like a little detail, like, "Oh, we should probably mention like the slant of this roof. It's kind of interesting." But yeah, I think he's kind of eyeing everything up, kind of like trying to take everything into like remember later.
Absolutely. All right. Around 20 to 30 minutes pass after you all arrive. A few more groups have filtered in the interim. There's maybe close to 120, 130 adventurers who have arrived by this point in time, and it's close to 2:30 in the afternoon when the Grand Priestess finally stands in front of everyone. Sebti, the crocodile, steps forward, spreads her hands out, and begins what you all would probably recognize as an invocation to the Lady of Graves herself. O Lady of Graves, sovereign of the final passage, watcher over the boundary between life and death, in these sun-baked lands, beneath the gaze of our ancient homes, we invoke thee, Pharasma, with reverence and awe. As sands shift in the hourglass of time, we beseech thee to bless our endeavors, to keep the restless spirits at bay and uphold cosmic order. With each prayer uttered and each soul released, may your grace be felt in every corner of Osirion. May your judgment be just, your mercy abundant, for in your hands lies the fate of all who have lived and died. Hail Pharasma, Lady of Graves, hear our supplication. Thank you, all of you who have come here today to participate in the opening of our city's great necropolis. For the last 1800 years, it has stood a silent reminder of the past. But today, for the first time, we will be opening it, not just to the few who would give remembrance to those who still live there, but to those who would explore, to those who would bring remembrance of those within the necropolis to the rest of the world. Many of you have requested specific sites to explore, but we must leave these matters to fate. The Lady of Graves is a far better judge of destiny than we of this mortal sphere. The gates of the necropolis will open at sunrise tomorrow. I would implore you all to use this evening to prepare yourselves for the task ahead. And let these rules guide you in your endeavors in this holy place. Remember how this came to pass. Every slave's hut is a memorial, and honor the departed. May you all go with the lady's blessing, and let the lottery begin. Some scattered cheers from the sidelines. Most of the adventurers remain in relative silence, though, just keeping watch, waiting for the name of their group to be called up for them to go receive their appointment. And as Sebti sits back down, the two acolytes step forward, each of them reaching into one of the urns and pulling out a small token. They begin to call various adventuring groups up to give them their specific location. Interestingly enough, it does not seem like they are directly calling aloud for all to hear the locations each of these groups will be given. Perhaps for the best. But a number of the groups that get called up, the Sand Scorpions, the Crypt Finders, the Dog Soldiers, the Daughters of the Desert.
Guys, we forgot to come up with a name.
I know.
Should we have come up with a name?
You should have...
Shay's like looking around as names are
I'm
going
afraid
around.
not.
I have you down as just the explorers for now.
The desert children. Yes.
But I'm not from the desert.
Oh.
We're a child.
Well, I'm from here. Not here, but the desert.
Yes.
Desert children sounds good. Yes.
Yeah,
Do we need
that's
to run?
fine.
We need to like run the name up, or do you think they can just call us and we'll give it to them then? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just correct them when we get up there.
For sure. All right, perfect.
The explorers.
Yes. Let's go.
That I'm afraid that it is the children of the desert.
Yes, that's who we are.
The children of the desert?
Yes, my
Yes.
friend. Yes.
Understood. We will have that resolved by the time you finish your first exploration.
Thank you.
Who amongst your group will step up to receive your appointment? You've noticed that when each group has been called, only one individual has actually ascended.
I will walk up. I'll just start walking.
I like start walking, then see that someone else is walking and stop.
I would follow up whoever's going up there, even though no one else was doing that before.
Hey, fair enough.
Nice.
Yasirna and Apollo, the two of you make your way up onto the stage itself, and the acolyte definitely gives you a strange look seeing the two of you ascend.
I kind of just shrugged my shoulders at him.
The
Don't worry. It's fine. It's fine.
children of the desert, you said?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. You have been given the tomb of Akhentepe as your location to explore.
Do we get a map?
There's a map of the necropolis on the table, and they will point to where it is for you, right in the far east of the town specifically.
I will turn to Apollo. Are you good with memory?
Yes. Yeah, I will make kind of a super quick, crude map in my notebook,
Sure.
kind of pointing out, just some of the larger buildings on the map and stuff like that.
As you're doing this, the other acolyte is in the middle of shuffling through some papers, and they pull out a map that is a smaller map of the necropolis with a direct route to the tomb lined out.
Oh, even better.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'll just take it from him.
Please do not forget the rules.
Of course, of course. We definitely will not try anything.
Failure to comply.
Oh, I was just gonna. You go for it.
Failure to comply with these can result in, but is not limited to, expulsion from the necropolis, a ban on continued exploration, seizure of recovered valuables, and arrest and prosecution by local authorities.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to break any rules, obviously. Are there any? I know there's a route drawn out on this map, but is there anything we should avoid? Are there any parts of the necropolis that, just if we were looking around, of course, not entering anywhere, but any areas we should avoid?
The acolyte shakes their head. No. Getting a lay of the land is not disallowed and not necessarily a bad idea, but keep in mind that some of the other adventuring groups may take offense to being what could be construed as watched.
Sure. And you said we'd get our next assignments after we came back from this one, or is it possible to get them all now?
You will receive your second assignment after completion of your first.
Perfect.
Right.
Is there anything else that we need from you? Or shall we start going?
The necropolis will open tomorrow at sunrise.
How
Okay.
long will it be stay open for?
At this point, I'll take the map and I'll start walking down.
Yeah, you definitely notice that very few of the groups stayed up for very long. It does not seem like there were a lot of questions being asked then, but one of the acolytes just sighs. The necropolis will be open for the foreseeable future. Take as much time as you need for the exploration of your chosen location.
All right, that's
And then
good. Thank you.
Did our allotment get like sent out to everyone?
Nope, they called your name out to call you up to the table, but then the actual name of the location in the map was just said in a regular voice to you all, such that the other adventuring groups would not likely hear it.
I guess, could I see if someone was like listening in, see if they knew what we got as
Give
I
me a
roll up
perception check.
the
Yeah.
map here
Go for it.
to hide it?
Everyone's eyes are on the stage. So everyone's sort of watching you guys up there. You don't see any of the other adventurers that are actively casting magic that might give them an idea of what you were hearing. You don't see any that have like widened eyes or are writing anything down. Aside from the groups that have already gotten their locations, you can see most of them have clustered and are whispering amongst themselves, very likely already making plans.
So no like disappointed faces or anything, or like jealous ones?
Not that you can see.
Okay. But I'll roll it up and kind of tuck it in my robe here.
Sure. as you guys head down from the stage to return to your group. They call the next group of adventurers up the Daughters of the Desert.
Oh, good thing they were second. We would sound like we stole their name otherwise.
Right.
Well, that was their choice.
It seems...
Good omen, I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was all. I'm done.
It seems like most of the adventuring groups are sticking around until the lottery is over. But if you all would like to leave early, you're more than welcome to. The whole process will probably take 2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there a reason to wait?
I think we should go find a more private room to talk about what we got.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea, and if we have time after we kind of make a plan, maybe do a little bit digging what the local legends or what people know about this specific tomb, so we have a better idea of what we're walking into.
I agree. That's a good idea.
Absolutely.
You guys do have a either individual or group rooms, your choice, at the Tooth and Hookah, one of the local taverns and inns, especially for travelers to the city. But if you'd rather find somewhere else that isn't your inn, you're more than welcome to as well.
No, I think that's good.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
All right. Making your way back over to Tooth and Hookah. It's a pretty quaint little building, in all honesty. Pretty modest. It's an inn and hookah bar. It has a sort of flag hung from one of the awnings outside the front door. It's painted with a grinning green crocodile sinking its teeth into a gold hookah. It's the name Tooth and Hookah written in Osirion on it. Mud brick walls, quite an amount of shade. It's an interesting building on the interior because what you might commonly think of as an inn, like tap room, bar, maybe stairs up to where rooms are for people to stay, this is much more like a miniature market. Aside from the low tables with crescent moon pillows around them and water pipes on top of them, there are a number of counters crowded against the walls, all of them overflowing with various odds and ends for sale. Old books, cheap-looking necklaces, bracelets, wispy scarves. Only one of the counters, kind of hidden in the corner, is the actual bar, and the barkeep that you all met when you arrived, Farhan, you all purchased your rooms from. But
All right.
you know where the stairs are up to your room if you'd like that.
Yeah, and I would ask Farhan, is there a private dining room where we can take our meal and discuss away from the public eye?
We don't really have a private dining room here, but if you'd be interested, I do have 1 or 2 of the suites not quite rented out as of yet. Some of the adventuring groups arrived today, so I'm imagining they'll fill up. If you'd like to rent them for the next hour or so to use as a private eating place, I could arrange that.
Yeah, I think that would be good to kind of just have a little bit of privacy for even just an hour or so.
Sure.
How much would it be for the entire night, along with the meal and four of your hookahs?
Looking for 4 hookahs, the additional suite, and food for the night. Where is my prices? Yeah. So the equipment page. One moment. Oh, it's before the spells page. I'm a fool. Alright, there we go. You're looking for ale, for meals, for the 4 of you. Let's see. 15 silver pieces should be enough.
Yeah, I'll chip in my share of that.
I'll just, before he gets a chance, I'll just pay for it just to secure it.
Sure. And that will give you an additional suite for the 4 of you: hookah, a meal, a mug of ale as well, on top of the rooms you already rented for the night. And every room includes breakfast in its cost, so you're set for the morning as well.
Here, my friend, thank you very kindly.
Of course. I'll have your meal brought up to you in the next few minutes or so, and the hookah will bring that up as well. I believe the pipe will need some refilling.
Thank you very much.
And he'll toss you guys the key as well as fill 4 mugs of ale for you quickly on the bar counter. We'll head up to the suite.
Oh, did not remove the silver.
Yeah.
There we go. Remove coins. Why is it not removing the silver?
I don't know. Did you set it to remove based off of value?
No, I was doing specific because I have 5 silver, so I removed one gold and 5 silver, but it's not removing the 5 silver.
Well, I don't know.
Weird.
Looks
I'll
good
just
to me.
set the value then. Oh, do you see that I just have the 10 gold then?
Yeah, I'm only seeing 10.
Oh, because it's not updated for me.
My man purchased no equipment. I'm so proud of you.
That's awesome.
What do you know? I have an adventurer's backpack.
Sorry, and you have nice clothing.
Yeah. Well,
What else could you possibly need for an adventure into into the
Right?
necropolis?
I'm still armed at all times. Okay.
Just holds up both fists.
Well, I got some claws and some teeth.
Yeah.
Touche.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And
My
you know-
apologies.
And my claws are my god's favorite weapon.
Okay.
Aw, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
Nice.
It really sounds like a catchphrase.
All right.
Right. So, how do we gather information about this necropolis that's been closed for so long? Would the Church of Pharasma have information?
Probably there. I would also be willing to go check out a library.
Ooh, I would love to go with you for that.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to join. I'm good at researching and digging into histories and things like that, and I'm interested in those histories outside of just this tomb we're going into. So I would definitely.
Yes.
Be
At that point, I'll pull out the map and kind of like set it down once we're in, and after we got everything, so no one else is coming in and out.
Mm-hmm.
We got this tomb. What was the name again?
Achentepi. I'll type it up in chat for people.
All right.
So a name should make a difference. Should make it easier to look up, research, ask around.
Yeah. First off, just do any of you know anything about Achentepi?
I'll roll recall knowledge to see
You
if
can
I
roll
do.
recall knowledge. I will let you know it's a very high DC.
I'm probably not gonna get it unless it randomly goes under my god's lore, which I doubt.
No.
I'll give it a shot as well, just because I was doing some research before.
Yeah.
I'll give you guidance.
Awesome. I'll give you a +1 under that roll.
I'm gonna try some genealogy lore.
Sure.
See if I've heard that name and connect it.
If you do click recall knowledge, by the way, it does include your lores.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so you don't have to roll lore skills individually.
I figured that's the only one I have a hope of knowing. So I'm kind of
Interesting.
the beefy beat it with a stick guy.
Interestingly enough, Rialt, something about the name does catch in your mind for you. Um, I want you to know your nat 20 is only a regular success here on that roll.
Oh, nice.
That is
Okay, cool.
the DC was high enough that by number that is still a failure.
Oh, okay, cool.
But nat 20s increase the value of your or the success rank. So I think what you're able to gather from that, you've done some research.
Probably listen to my aunt droning
Yeah.
about the old days far too long.
Yeah. Also, based off of the fact that the tomb on the map is located in the area you know to be the actual cemetery in the necropolis, it is very
Okay.
likely that this Akentepe predates the Plague of Madness.
Ooh,
Okay,
that's
so
very helpful for when we go to the library. Kind of can help narrow it down where we start looking.
yeah, so I'll pass that along. So more than 2,200 years ago.
Yeah, I mean that's a big difference before and after the plague.
Right. Okay, so we'll pass that along, and yeah. So if you all are going to go to the library, should we go to the temple perhaps, or to the archives?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea is to try to get as much information, maybe, two teams of two. The
Sure.
other thing before we split up, we're still relatively new getting to know each other. It would be good to know kind of our strengths and weaknesses about what we can expect from each other tomorrow.
Well,
You're not wrong.
I am well, a warrior, and I am quite handy with the flail that I carry. I use a whip sometimes against fire enemies to make them fall. Um, and I carry javelins to use at range. I will be at the front and protect those of you who require such things.
Yeah, you definitely look the part of a fighter, no doubt about that. I, for one, I can handle my sword, but that's not where my strength lies. I'm going to be much better at patching you up if you get slashed. I'm pretty handy with some needlework and kind of helping direct traffic. I'm going to be much better than actually fighting, but push come to shove, I do have a sword and a bow.
Excellent.
A lot
Well,
of what I focus on is going to be hindering the foes that we come across, making them slower or uh, slightly less capable. Uh,
I
some
love that.
magic. Yes.
well, of course I'm a man of God. I call upon her to help the sick.
Is, does
Could you tell
anyone?
us which god it was? Or is that okay to ask you? I wasn't sure.
Well, it's not one that you may not know, but
Oh, I know many.
it is Bastet.
Oh, I might not know that one.
Yes, not many do anymore, which is unfortunate. But I shall change that.
Oh, that's interesting. Well,
So
good luck.
it, it what about vision? Um, my heritage grants me the ability to see in the dark. Do others have that?
I do not have that ability. I don't think.
I,
Okay.
I believe I do.
And-
Let me double check my eyes. I blink a few times. Yes, I can see in the dark.
Very, very nice.
And
I'm assuming basic humans do.
and what heritage is that?
Ah, well, my aunt claims that there's the blood of pharaohs that flow in our veins, but it's manifested in me as the blood of a genie somewhere back in the days. A genie was somewhere in
Interesting.
our family.
You do not look like one. You look just like him.
That-
Well, except for the eyes. But then again, you did say that they were special.
Right. I don't think it's that special. My aunt is very, very all about this and all about that and the eyes of the pharaohs and blah, blah, blah. I just want to hit things. She never lets me hit things.
I'm sure
Well-
you have plenty of time to do that.
Hopefully there will be nothing in there to hit. But good to know that you're confident in your hitting skills.
Statistically speaking, there will very likely be something in there that hits.
I should ask, are any of, I mean, I sense that maybe I am not the most social person. Um, are any of you particularly gifted at talking people out of their good wits?
Well, I like to think so.
I have my days.
I just have found that sometimes, it depends on the person, but, sometimes yelling at them doesn't always work. And sometimes you need more sugar than stick, right?
I definitely am better at kind of organizing people and trying to get them in line than I am. I'm more carrot than I am, or more stick than I am carrot.
Got it. I think we will get along very well, my friend.
I think so.
I can make it a point to improve my the honey side of things tomorrow, but not today.
Above table, I will let you know that your fifth party member is the current best in diplomacy.
Nice.
Nice.
At least there's someone trained in diplomacy.
Yeah.
Right.
He is playing a charisma based class.
Nice. Okay.
I mean,
Well-
I'm a bard, but I'm not necessarily a great talker to people.
So, shall we go take a look, or shall we wait till the morning to get some more information when the gates open?
No.
Let's go now. That way, in the morning, we can be on our way.
And if the
Yeah,
water's still going, we could beat the other explorers before they start doing their own research.
Yeah.
I'm sure the
Yeah.
library is going to be packed before the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
the,
think, doing our research now and then getting an early start to maybe hopefully bypass some of the crowd and crowdedness in the morning, and also, maybe steer away from anybody looking to follow us. I know they warned us about, not looking like we were following people, but I'm sure there are plenty of people who would like to get their hands on the place we're going.
tombs
Didn't even
are-
dawn on me people might not follow their roles.
You never know.
Suppose.
Also, I would definitely suggest to not tell anyone that we got the tomb. Others
No.
really,
Yeah.
really wanted that.
Of course.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
they may not like it and take it upon us.
I completely agree.
Right. That sounds great. So are all of us suited to our tasks then? 2 within the libraries and 2 within the temples.
Yeah, I think that's a good split.
So who was it that will go with me to the temple?
I will. Well, whichever one. I'm not that great at reading. I mean, I can read. And I can read ancient Assyrian too. I'm very good at that, actually.
Ooh,
I can read ancient Assyrian as well.
Okay,
really?
cool. So let's split, so that one of us, or each of us, is in a different group.
Yeah, I'll go to the library if you go to the temple.
Absolutely.
All right. So, it is just after 5 p.m. by the time you guys finish up a brief meal and your conversations and begin heading out in different locations. Funny enough, Wati on its own does not have a described library in the main city. There is an old library in the necropolis. Can't really go to that one, though. So,
Not tonight.
That's illegal.
that is illegal. Some people may even be going to explore there. So those of you heading to the library will be heading specifically to the Sandswept Archive, a little bit south of the Grand Mausoleum itself. And Rialt and Yasir heading to the temples. Are you specifically just looking to go to the Grand Mausoleum, or whatever temples you can get to? There are
what
a few
are
other
the-
deities here.
What are the other temples?
Yeah, the preeminent other one would be location 12 up here, the Sanctum of Silver and Gold, which is a temple to Abadar here in town, and is heavily connected to the market.
Are any of them of like older gods that would have been around before the plague, since this is a pre-plague tomb?
The closest isn't really a temple. There is a shrine to Wajet right along the bank of the Asp, but there isn't really a temple. Most of the temples to the older deities would have been in the necropolis.
Yeah, makes sense.
Did we know what god they worshipped?
Akhentepe?
Yes.
You know nothing about them so far, other than their name, and they apparently passed before the plague.
Okay. Well, maybe we should go to the Wajet temple, since that's a old god.
Sure. It is.
shrine.
It is more of just a little shrine than
Yeah.
an actual temple. There is. It's really just a tiny stone
Is it-
staircase leading down to the water with a golden brick at the top.
Is it 13 here?
Yes.
Okay.
There is a heavy influence of Pharasma in this city at this point in time, because they are entirely responsible for reviving the city. So, while it's not frowned upon to worship other gods at all, it's just not common here.
So who would like to be first?
It's a great question. Who would like to be first?
Either way, no preference.
Yeah.
We'll do a roll-off. Apulo and Rialt both roll a d20 for me. Whoever rolls
Okay.
higher will go first.
Oh.
I didn't say Yasir roll.
Yeah, I just kind of rolled.
I appreciate the gusto, but
Shame, I wasted roll.
I feel like Apulu and Chael are going to go first.
probably.
Yeah. There's
Let's-
always a chance the one pops up.
Oh.
Well, especially increases the odds when you roll 2d20.
Looking at it, it looks like the first of those two dice was the 10, so
There you go.
Apulo will
Okay.
be going first. Apulo and Shael heading to the
Nice.
Sands of Archive.
Still getting used to Foundry.
Okay. There's buttons directly on the bottom underneath your chat box for each of the different dice, and you can just click on those, and it'll put the formula in the actual chat for you to then roll. Each
Gotcha.
time you click the button, will be more of that die.
That would be the issue then. Yeah.
Heading over to the archive, it's right on the edge of the Asp district between it and Midwife. So you can see beyond it is when the streets start to become a lot more choked and winding. But it is a beautiful little building. Sandstone, which is very common for the construction around here. Most of the buildings either can be mud brick, sandstone, or in the case of the Grand Mausoleum and a couple of the other nicer places, especially over in the noble palaces and Morning Sun, limestone. But
Okay.
this building is sandstone, so it's kind of like second tier for niceness and what's been built. But there are 4 large columns adorned entirely with hieroglyphic inscriptions on their sides, flanking the entrance of the building. And you can see as well, as you approach, a few other adventuring groups making their way towards the entrance. The lottery by this point is winding down, and a lot of the groups have begun to leave, and it seems probably only 3 or 4 of them so far had the same idea as you and are making their way to the archive.
Okay.
But as you head inside, the wooden doors are open. Oh, yes.
Sorry. Are the hieroglyphs, are those what would be considered ancient Osirion?
Yeah, so effectively, to interpret these hieroglyphics, I'd probably still need a society roll to decipher writing. The DC is going to be much lower if you know ancient Osirion.
Okay.
But any engraving specifically that you find would be the actual writing, and then the glyphs themselves would be, or the hieroglyphs themselves might still need some translation. You're welcome to make a society check if you'd like to try and identify these, or do a quick decipher.
Sure, why not?
This does not need to be blind. Actually, no, decipher writing is supposed to be blind. I don't think
How
so.
do I roll? Oh, here we go.
Oh, it should be blind. Would you look at that? I don't care enough for this to be blind, though. This can be public.
Okay. How do I roll society?
Yeah, if you're on your character sheet and go to the skills tab, next to the number on the skills, you can either click the number next to their name or the actual little die icon. And that should bring up the roll box for you.
Okay. It says, I clicked on society. It pops up a little. It says that I can't roll because there's no active encounter.
Oh, are you looking? You're looking at the initiative roller on the left side of your character sheet.
Yes, I
if you
am.
go at top where your tabs are, you should see one that looks like an open hand. That is your actual skill proficiency page.
Gotcha. All right. Not
Perfect. Okay. You do know the language, being untrained. The hieroglyphics are a bit hard to directly decipher, especially with the absence of a lot of engravings to help with it. But they seem to be an actual detailed history of the city's founding since the Grand Mausoleum was built.
Okay.
You're able to, the glyphs that you see and are able to actually decipher are specifically dates, while the rest are, then the images seem to be representative of the actual events that have occurred. So you're able to figure out a few of the basics, but a lot of it sort of escapes your grasp.
Sounds good.
By the way, welcome, Nikepso. Glad that you could join us.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
No worries at all.
Yeah, no worries.
I'll leave it up to you if you want to just listen for a few minutes, or if you'd like to actually describe your character and jump right in. The party has been given the tomb that they are to go explore on the morrow, and has split up to go either to the archive and the temples to do some additional research on it.
It feels nice to not tiptoe anymore.
Yes, you do not have to tiptoe around on this app.
I'll just listen for a couple minutes.
Sure, absolutely. And you can jump in if you think you would have gone with either of the group at any point. But Apulo and
Okay.
Shail are currently at the Sandswept Archive. Making your way inside, it's a pretty quiet building. Thankfully out of the sun and with enough openings that there is a cool breeze blowing through. But there's probably maybe a little over a dozen scholars and scribes sort of bustling about, maybe soft voices echoing against the vaulted ceiling. You see maybe 3 people you clock as actual librarians, clad in robes of azure and gold, and one of them sort of approaches as the 2 of you enter. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Sunset Archive. What sort of information are you looking for today?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us. We were looking for some information on important people, dignitaries, rulers, someone that would merit the building of a tomb from before the plague.
Information from before the plague.
Yes, please.
Much of it has been lost, but over the centuries we have managed to recover a solid amount of what information we can. Let's see, if you're looking for important individuals.
And maybe even pre-plague burial rites and practices and kind of what we might expect, were they buried with all their treasure? Were they buried with booby traps trying to protect their treasure? Kind of what might be a common practice.
You must be a group of adventurers going to explore the necropolis tomorrow then, I suppose?
Yes, but also just an avid learner and someone who wants to get as much information on a lot of things.
Understood. Give me a few minutes, let me see what I can find, and I will report back to you. Please feel free to take a look around, though, while you wait.
Thank you.
Shale may have already wandered off and started to do that during the conversation.
Shaila, go ahead and give me a religion check if you don't mind.
Sure. No. Oh boy.
Oh, goody. Well, you may hero point reroll that if you'd like, or you can gain the free hero point and be at 3.
I feel like doing some research might merit using the hero point instead.
Sure.
I gave myself a hero point instead of taking away. My bad.
Well, if you want to use it without having to manually reduce one, or sorry, were you saying you want to get the hero point?
No, I was reducing it.
Gotcha.
I left click instead of right clicked, but let me go ahead.
You do not have to manually reduce it if you don't want. If you right click your roll in chat, some of the options you'll get, one of them is to reroll using a hero point, and
That's
that'll
fun.
automatically reduce it and reroll it.
All right, well, let me give my hero point back and get to experience that firsthand.
Yeah.
That didn't do much better, but oh yeah, it did. Never mind.
Yeah, much better. Let's see. Taking a look around, it actually catches your attention that a number of the depictions in this building on the walls and even the carved ends of the bookshelves appear to be of the ibis-headed visage of Thoth, the ancient Osirion god of wisdom and learning. It's not directly called out, and probably not enough that you would consider this place a shrine to him, but it seems very respectful of the deity here.
I'll make a note of that and kind of wander around a little bit until eventually am able to see Apollo. How do I say it? Sorry.
Apulu.
Apollo.
Apollo?
Apollo.
Yeah.
Apollo. Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, I will essentially look around until eventually the conversation ends. Before being like, oh, we got separated. Sorry. I found, look at these depictions of the goddess of wisdom and learning. How interesting, isn't it? I'm sure our friend focused on the old ways and whatnot would be enthusiastic.
Yeah, that is a sharp eye. That's a good thing to notice. That might come in handy when we're doing our research.
Yes. Oh, I've spent a great deal of time in the library. Yeah. Anyway, did you find out where we need to go?
The librarian should be back shortly. Have you noticed any of the other adventurers walking around and maybe seeing, what they're looking at?
Ooh, that might not be a bad. Oh, actually, if you wanted, I'll kind of look towards my shoulder, kind of stroke the sort of serpent head that's like kind of resting there.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to fly around a little bit, Renan, you could, eavesdrop a bit if you wanted. No pressure, if you wanted. Looking towards my familiar, and I will essentially ask her if she wants to do some spy work for us.
Now, remind me, your familiar can speak, correct?
Yes, my has manual dexterity as well as the ability to speak and fly. So I can, if she gets stuck behind the door.
Shay, are you
Yes?
asking or are you telling me to go spy on these people?
Right. I'm telling you to. Yes, I'm telling you to if you want to.
That's awesome.
Whatever. Go ahead and roll a stealth check for Renan for me, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Just to see if others notice the odd-looking winged serpent flying around.
Oh boy, I think they might.
And I should also mention my apologies. Stealth roll should pretty much always be
Oh, I'm
blind
sorry.
rolls. No worries, I did not mention it.
Is there a way I can do that with my familiar? Because it'd be on a different sheet, or is there somewhere on my sheet that has
if you look
stuff?
right above the chat box in the bottom right, you should see a drop-down menu that's listed to public roll right now. And that is what your default roll mode will be. So you can set that to blind if you're going to be rolling things like stealth.
All right, perfect.
Just make sure you set it back
going
to
forwards. Yeah.
But Renan's not the stealthiest. In a large library like this, especially, something moving around in the air is definitely going to catch people's attention. So, doing her best to stay high up in order to not remain within earshot or not be noticed by people is going to keep her somewhat out of earshot of some of the other adventuring groups that are doing their best to be quiet. I think if there's one thing she does manage to hear, she sees a pair of adventurers from the group that you remember being called the Crypt Finders. And they are... they actually look a little bit upset, but they are asking about the... effectively old tools and what would have been originally used in an ancient brewery, and if any of those tools, if they survived until this point, if they would have value.
Neat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably just like have her away while we're doing the investigations, with the understanding that we'll meet up after we're done.
Sure.
But perfect. That'd be good to have an idea of at least where they're heading.
Yeah, I mean, never know when some information might come in handy.
Yeah. But a couple minutes pass, and the librarian does eventually come back to you. I've gone through some of the records, and I've managed to find a few documents pertaining to the graveyards in the necropolis for individuals of importance who were buried from before the plague happened. When the bodies after the plague happened were being reinterred by the church when they arrived, they did go and do their best to document the prior members who had passed. And the librarian will plop down like 3 or 4 large ledgers on a small reading table for the two of you to begin going through.
Okay. Would I know how to write Ankentepi like in ancient Osirion?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I'd like to, if Shay doesn't speak ancient Osirian, I'd like to show him what that looks like so he can kind of flip through, and if he notices that symbol or however it's written, maybe, kind of either mark it or bring it to my attention.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I'm going to ask the two of you to go ahead and give me just a recall knowledge roll as you spend a while flipping through these books and see what you can find.
All right. Can I use guidance on this before I do?
Yeah, I'll allow it.
All right.
Actually, I'm going to say no on that, because this is going to be a long process, and guidance is for a single moment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect.
And since it has immunity, it's not something you can continuously be casting on yourself.
Checks out. All right.
Okay. Interesting, to be sure.
It's ominous interesting, I feel like.
It takes a while. You don't find it in the first book, you don't find it in the second book. In the third ledger you're going through, Shail, you find the name Akentepi. And bringing it to Apulo's attention so you can actually read it. It doesn't have a lot of information, but it notes Akentepi as being a celebrated military commander who passed in the year 2488 AR.
Okay. That is good to know. Are we able to find anything about kind of burial rites and rituals? If not, no worries.
With those rolls, unfortunately not. Most of the information you manage to gather from this it's literally ledgers, like going through all of the different graves and mausoleums in the cemetery, writing down the names, potentially who they were, and the death, like date of death.
Okay.
There's very little information to be had in these tomes as to the actual burial rites. That's not necessarily difficult information to find in general, though, if you were to take some time to ask around. Wati is a city that thrives truly on the trade of death, effectively. Funerary rites and everything is information and the general business of much of the city.
Okay.
So you might not need a library to specifically try and find that information.
Sounds good. I will jot down in my notebook all the info about, him being a military leader and all of that. And after that, thank the librarian, and I imagine it's getting later, so probably need to head back to the inn after that.
You guys are probably pushing like 7:15 by the time you finish. doing that research.
Yeah, I'd want to make sure we get an early start, so don't need to stay out super late.
Absolutely. And let's
Suppose you're right.
let's pivot over to Rielt and Ysir then. Where would the two of you like to go? You've got a shrine and 2 temples here in the city that you can check out.
The Wadjet Shrine first.
Sure.
That's the oldest in the city.
It absolutely is. Making your guys' way over to the shrine, what you know of it immediately, one of the ancient pharaohs, Jederet II, was the one who ordered Wati's construction, and he laid a golden brick where the Asp and Crook rivers mingled to form the Sphinx River that heads north. It was over that brick that the small shrine to Wadjet was actually created. It has a stone staircase leading down into the water itself, and there's maybe 3 or 4 people just in quiet contemplation when you arrive at the small shrine. It's not a large building by any means for you to enter. It is truly just a shrine to the deity.
So let's walk around and see what we can make from the glyphs that decorate the building.
Well, I'm not that great at reading those. That is you, unless.
I could do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll Rielt will attempt to
I
move
see.
around and read.
I
Sure.
see our friend has awakened and joined us.
Ah, very good. I told you the wheat beer would not settle well.
You're muted if you're trying to speak.
Yes, I apologize for oversleeping.
Quite all right. We're looking for information. Then I'll draw the sigil that would represent Akentepe, so that we can all look for that.
Sure. Now, I do believe, Nikepso, you also speak and read Ancient Osiriani, correct?
Correct.
All right. If the 3 of you would like to go ahead and give me society checks to try and make any sense of the hieroglyphs on the side of the shrine and see if you can find Akentepe's name, you're more than welcome to.
Private or public?
This should technically be blind because it is deciphering writing. I can't be bothered though. If you want to do it public, I'm fine with that. I'll even show you your roll reality. Oh, I guess everyone's blind. Never mind. You don't get to know what it was anymore. Taking some time to look around at the hieroglyphs on here, you do not catch the name Akentepe anywhere.
Okay.
It truly does seem like this is a just small shrine to Wadjet, which is a river serpent deity that is sort of the personification of the river Sphinx and is believed to guard the ruler of Osirion.
Okay.
It is believed as a deity of healing that the waters drawn from the base of the stairs, if done under the sun of the solstice, would have additional healing properties. But other than that, it doesn't seem like there's anything major here that could be of use to you.
All right. Well, perhaps we should go to the temple of Pharasma. Since her clergy are the ones that rebuilt the city.
Yeah. Nikepso, you do not need to stutter step in this campaign. I'm not going to hit you with something horrible.
I was more, I didn't know which building.
Ah,
It is 5, right?
yes. 5 is the Grand Mausoleum here.
Okay, good.
Okay.
12 is the Temple of Abadar, quote unquote. Also just counting house and tax collectors for the market.
Got it.
That's just Abadar, though, so.
Sounds like a good place to steal from.
Right? I won't stop you if you want to try.
No, thank you.
That's more a level 5 thing.
Once you rival the city's level, then you can go try. Making your way into the Grand Cathedral, the Grand Mausoleum, I should call it, since that is what it is. You notice as you approach, much of the stage and table that were used for the lottery are already being taken down and brought back inside. The awning is being taken down and folded up. But heading inside the open doors, it is almost this grand courtyard that has simply a what looks like enchanted sky on the ceiling above to make it look like you are outside while retaining the coolness of the interior of the building. Many statues of hooded figures line various alcoves. Pillars of polished marble rise to support the ceiling. The marble floor has an almost stylized depiction of what you gather is the River of Souls crossing it. And then the actual shrine, the center of the cathedral where the faith of Pharasma would go to worship, seems to be built as a rendition of the boneyard. But there are a number of people in here giving prayer. There are a number of people in quiet contemplation. There are also just a number of priests as well walking around. You are free to speak to anyone you would like.
Is the main lady that, or not lady, but the main person that handed us the lottery around still?
Do you mean just the acolyte you spoke to, or do you actually want Sebti the Crocodile, the head priestess?
The head priestess, if we can gain an audience.
Gaining an audience with her might be challenging at the moment. If you would like to try, you're more than welcome to. I would ask for a diplomacy check.
Should we try, or should we go for someone else?
Perhaps we shouldn't bother the high priestess with research. Perhaps one of the acolytes might be more open and perhaps more easily persuaded.
Is there like an acolyte just kind of looking at us?
There's many of them walking around, and a few of them probably take a glance at you as you enter, but then quickly move on their way. You guys are probably relatively obviously adventurers, correct?
Oh, yes.
There's definitely some scorn in their eyes when they look at you.
I'm probably like the least noticeable one.
Fair.
Whichever one I see makes eye contact with me, I'll walk towards.
Sure. Easy enough to go grab them. Hello.
My friend.
What can I do for you?
I would like some information about.
Our assignment.
I'll just turn like what was his name again? I tend to forget.
Yes. Would you mind stepping this way with us? We're looking for information on our assignment. We wish to show the proper respect for those that were interred by the lady and her followers.
But of course. Please follow me. We have a number of offering halls that are open for quiet conversation.
Ah, great. Great.
And he will lead you all into just a sort of offshoot chamber.
Yes, we're looking for information on Akintepi. We believe that Akintepi, that he was buried prior to the plague. One of the older sections of the necropolis.
I see. So I take it to mean you wish to access the temple's records of those who came before.
Exactly. Thank you. You understand it very well.
We do so with the greatest respect. We want to make sure that we honor the deceased in an appropriate way as we're exploring their tomb.
But of course, go ahead, whoever. I'll allow one of you to roll the actual diplomacy check and one of you to roll aid if you would like. But I would like a diplomacy check from one of you in the group to try and see what sort of information you'll get from this gentleman.
Yeah, not from me.
Did you want to roll, or should I?
I guess I think I'm the best at diplomacy.
Yeah.
You are.
You are.
So you guys are talking, and I'm just giving the puppy dog eyes. Okay.
Yasir, you're welcome to roll to 8 if you would like.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and... Is there a way for me to roll 8 specifically, or just...
You just rolled the skill check, which can be public. You're looking for a DC 15 when you're aiding here.
Let's see. Yeah!
Hey, very nice. So that'll give you a +1 bonus to your roll, Nikepso.
Circumstance, right?
Mm-hmm. And if you use your basic action macros, there is an aid toggle for yourself. That die was hovering on the 1.
Do I burn a hero point?
I mean, I don't see why not.
The eternal question.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
But
I burn a hero point.
I tend to burn mine on
and get a worse.
Oh no!
The classic hero points. Oof. All right.
She's a cat person.
Well, after all, we are in Osirion.
Just getting it out of the way now.
The priest sort of nods at you as you all ask for this information. I will see what I can do, but I make no promises on being able to provide any useful information for you.
Well, maybe would you be able to if we offer something to Pharasma?
You roll to see how corrupt this guy is. Ooh, all right then. He looks at you just sort of out of the corner of his eyes. Chambers such as this are meant for offerings.
And what would be necessary for this?
Well, as they say, one must relinquish all but the most important material wealth upon passing.
Well, okay. That's quite difficult to do when we're, living. But how does this sound? And then I'll just grab his hand and place 2 gold.
All right.
in it.
And Rielt, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I'm not really sure how to. I'll just be quiet.
As you press the gold coins into his palm, he will clasp the back of your hand with his other hand. The goddess is quite pleased with this offering. I will
That
be
is
back with your
definitely
information shortly.
Thank you. Thank you.
So much. After he leaves, I'm like, Ysir, that is so much money.
Well, after all, you kind of needed to, how do they say, grease some wheels?
Ah, I'm not used to such things. So
It's okay. We do. Maybe he give, maybe he don't. Who knows? Hopefully, it is worth that steep price.
I certainly hope so.
You paid him like half a month's worth of earnings right there, so.
Yeah, but is he actually, or you still don't know. He could just take the money and run.
Fair. Anything the three of you would like to do while waiting for him to return, or just wait patiently?
I think
So do you speak ancient Osirion, right?
yes.
We may talk later. I would like to learn once we
Oh,
get out of things.
it's deadly dull. My aunt would drone and drone and drone until I would poke myself in the head.
Well, you did have the privilege to grow up with it. I did not. I would
I
like to
will.
learn.
I'm all right. I will get you a slate and some chalk, and you can write the pictograms until your eyes burn with the chalk.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Block where the acolyte went until he went out of view.
Sure. Yeah, you seem to be.
In case I need to go steal some records.
Fair enough. He headed out of the small room you are in, made his way down towards sort of the center of the actual mausoleum where the large rendition of the boneyard is, and then clocked his way east and through one of the side doors there, and that's where you lose sight of him. But it's maybe 20-25 minutes before he comes back. As you're all just kind of
my
standing
friend,
there waiting.
welcome. Thank you.
I have wondrous news. I have managed to uncover a small amount of information that I hope can be of use to you.
Wonderful, wonderful. May we know this now? Or
As a member of Osirion's military prior to his passing, Akintabi was buried with full honors. However, for reasons unknown, it is believed that his tomb is unfinished.
well, that's quite odd. Why would they do that and then put them there? That sounds quite disrespectful.
The reasons are unknown, as the tomb has not been explored before. Perhaps you will find out and help us fill out our records. However,
Do you know how he passed?
we do not have that information. We only have conjecture. We have not entered his mausoleum and tomb. But it is very likely that, being one who passed before the plague and with full honors, you should not have to worry about coming across any undead abominations during your exploration.
That is good news.
Very. It's quite a lot of good information.
You may, however, make yourselves aware of mechanical monstrosities that were used at the time and make wonderful guardians of tombs.
Oh. Are they large, small? 1, 2, 3?
I do not have more information than that.
I see.
That's still very good information. Thank you.
May the goddess smile upon your endeavors.
Thank you, my friend. And I'll pat his shoulder, and then turn to them. Shall we go tell the others now of what we learned?
Yes. Thank you, Yasir. That was very well done.
It was your idea to come here, after all. My first choice seemed to be a dead end.
All right. As you all make your way back towards the Tooth and Hookah, where all of you will meet up and have the opportunity to share your findings, that's where we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Everyone to stand up, stretch, get some water, and I will see you all in a few minutes. All right, welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
So, it is
Howdy.
7:15, 7:20 in the afternoon by the time you all return to the Tooth and Hookah, begin to reconvene and share with one another the information you managed to find earlier.
I have kind of a general question about Pharasma.
Mm-hmm.
Would we know her edicts and anathema? Are those like common knowledge?
That is common knowledge, yeah. With how prevalent Pharasma is, the edicts to lay bodies to rest, destroy undead, strive to understand prophecy, and then the anathema to create undead, desecrate a corpse, and rob a tomb would be well known.
So would we think it's a little bizarre that the Temple of Pharasma is letting us into a tomb that presumably might be robbed then?
Probably. You can give me a society check to see what you know about that situation, especially for those of you who have done some research leading up to this. Okay.
Oops.
No worries. You're right. This is effectively grave robbery on a national scale, what's going on in Osirion. And, yeah, the temples probably don't like it, but from what you're aware, they haven't really been given a choice. Tradition...
Okay, more from the government than it is from the church.
Yeah, so Osirian tradition dictates that the material trappings of a tomb is what helps correctly identify a departed soul's station to Pharasma at the time of its judgment. Whether that's metaphysically accurate or not is to be discussed, but that is ingrained in culture here. From an ecclesiastical perspective, once a soul has been judged, its possessions from its former life play no further role in whatever afterlife Pharasma has assigned it. So, in the eyes of the Ruby Prince, Pharaoh Kemet III, the ancient Osirian dead have already been judged and no longer require their grave goods. In the eyes of the church, this licensed tomb raiding sets a very dangerous precedent and puts Pharasma's divine judgment on a mortal timetable.
Okay.
Kemet III
curious if, like, they would actually be armed mobs waiting for us when we come out if we
No.
have to bring anything with us.
No. Kemet III basically gave the church a choice. They could either cooperate with the royal decree in exchange for limited authority over how the tombs are explored, or be overruled and have no say in the matter. They chose to oversee the situation and impose rules and guidelines. And that is those 3 rules that got mentioned at the lottery earlier today. Remember how this came to pass, which is just remember that the necropolis is a holy place to this day. Those who engage in needless conflict and banditry are not only criminals, but accursed. Every slave's hut is a memorial. Each structure within the necropolis is a testament to the people who lived and died here, so explorers must not desecrate or vandalize standing structures and tombs, but do their best to preserve them as the memorials they were intended to be. Some structures may be trapped and or decrepit. It's willful and unnecessary destruction that won't be tolerated. And last but not least, honor the departed. Treat the dead with dignity and respect. If the interred need to be disturbed to recover an antiquity or relic, they should be returned to their resting places carefully. It's understood that the ancient dead are often brittle. There's no needs for the contents of a sarcophagus to be summarily dumped on the ground, though.
Sure.
This rule does not apply to undead or other abominations, though. Go buck wild on those.
Yeah. All right, perfect. So yeah, it's for all intents and purposes, be respectful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the church didn't really have much of a choice, so they're making the best out of a bad situation for them.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once we got back to the inn, then definitely would tell the rest of the group about the archive and how we didn't find a ton out. Mostly just that he was a military commander from before the plague, and that Che actually managed to overhear that one of the other groups is going to a brewery.
Yes, the crypt finders.
Yeah. Not sure that will be relevant, but just in case.
Interesting. And we'll pass along that based on the timeline, we think that he was probably buried with mechanical guardians. So there shouldn't be undead, but there will likely be clockwork.
Oh.
Okay. Well, hopefully that might, I could be completely wrong here, but that might be a little bit easier to spot. I'm sure there's going to be some very clever hidden ones, but if we see anything that looks semi-mechanical, stay away from it.
Right. I think we should get an early start tomorrow.
Yeah.
The tomb is also unfinished.
Ah, yes.
The tomb's unfinished. That's interesting. What is...
Yes, they did not know why.
Okay.
But he was given full honors upon burial, so it's odd that it wasn't finished.
And are we allowed to come and go? Like, can we...
Yeah.
Back at the end of the day and then go back in the next day?
Absolutely.
Okay.
A lot of groups are probably going to try and finish, because most people are given their small sites first.
Yeah.
A lot of the adventuring groups are going to try and finish their small ones in a day, so that they can get ahead on the larger and larger ones that might need more time. But if you feel the need for more time, you're more than welcome to take it. There is no official timetable put on you here.
Cool. Yeah, just making sure in case we had to leave, and then there was no second crack at it.
Right. No, your survival is paramount at the very least. They do not want people going in just to get themselves killed, so...
Okay. And do we know anything about kind of the necropolis after dark? Is it obviously there's not people just wandering around there any time of the day, but is there, local legends about, the dead walk at night or
Not
anything?
that you're aware of, especially since the necropolis up until now has really remained pretty heavily sealed
For sure.
in the city. There aren't a lot of local legends. It is considered to be a consecrated place to Pharasma and is considered quite holy to many. But there are not any real local legends or myths on things to be
Sure.
aware of there.
Well, that's all I've got until morning, unless anybody else has anything they want to do.
Nope. I'm good. I'm ready to.
Anyone have experience fighting mechanical creatures
I do not.
or know what to expect? Have read anything about them?
I do not, but they don't even know themselves. But then again, you were there for that.
I can look through some of my history books and try to recall anything I might have heard about mechanical, or that might be written before me, but I personally have not had any experience with mechanical beasts.
Yeah, if you want to spend the rest of the evening going through the tomes you have with you and make a recall knowledge roll, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Your company did not have many, if any, major conflicts with mechanical constructs during their heyday. So, looking through the tomes you have on you, there aren't really any major bits of information about them that you think would be super helpful.
Yeah, I figured. I don't really know much about them, so not surprised that the rest of the few books I did bring with me don't have anything about them.
Very well.
Looks like we shall lay this by the ear.
All right.
Agreed.
Casually looking at all my piercing and slashing weapons.
You guys still have time if there's
Expecting-
things you think you might want to go pick up, either other equipment, like crowbars, brass ears, things like that. Any equipment or even weapons that you don't have yet and you might have the money for, you're welcome to go pick them up.
I have $0.
That sucks.
Five silver left.
I have
Any
3
bludgeoning
gold
weapons?
if people do need anything.
I don't think I know enough about these to know what I would need.
If we don't have a crowbar might be helpful.
I did get one of those in the spec that I brought.
Okay, good.
Actually, maybe how, was that pack expensive? Do you think I could buy one of those as well?
Oh, I got this many moons ago. I have no idea on price, but it all seems very common.
Also, I'll let you know, Yasir, the base Adventurers pack does not come with a crowbar in it.
I was just looking.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there's no crowbar in it. It's rope,
Oh!
soap, skin, rations, chalk, flint and steel, and a bedroll.
Which one did I buy in the other game that had a crowbar?
You might have bought your class pack in the other game.
Ah. Okay, well.
If it's okay, I might actually try to buy a thieves kit as well. I might take training in thievery tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
I do have that and am trained, so we do have some of that covered.
I will try to find a med kit.
I just want to be able to aid.
Yeah.
You can pick up a
Wouldn't
thieves
a thieves
toolkit
kill-
for 3 gold.
All right.
If someone
You'd
wants
assume
to...
that would have a crowbar in it.
No, it's mostly picks. If you want a crowbar, someone can pick one of those up for 5 silver.
And then a med kit, or not medical kit, but a healer's toolkit.
That is 5 gold. I do know Apollo has one already, though. I don't know if you want one as well.
I'll go ahead and buy the crowbar.
Okay.
I will buy.
Since I have 5 silver left. And I'll use the crowbar as a makeshift weapon if I need to.
Fair enough.
That does bludgeoning, I assume.
Deals sonic damage. What'd you say?
What is it? Oh, there we go.
A brass ear is also one I might recommend. That's a gold piece, but that is what negates penalty to perception checks when you're trying to listen through doors.
I will pick one of those up as well.
Right.
All right. And there's nothing stopping you if you think there's other things you need to, as you go, to leave, get what you need, and come back. So it's not like once you go in, I'm closing the door on you and locking you in until you can finish it, or until the day ends.
Very, very true.
All right. You all ready to rest for the eve and wake up in the morning for your first day in the necropolis?
Yes, and then during the night, I'll take our map and I will sleep with it very close.
Man, you have no trust.
I don't trust others at all.
That's fair.
People. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're good. Go ahead.
People wanted tombs. We got a tomb. I'm gonna keep that.
Yeah, should we set watches overnight?
I don't think that would be necessary, but
Okay.
we'll just
If
make
you're
sure
not
that we lock
worried, I'll-
doors.
What were you gonna say, Shay?
Oh, I was gonna say I was gonna out of the game. I was gonna ask the group because I know what skills people have. Every day I can essentially pick one skill through like my ancestry thing to gain proficiency or gain trained in. Out of like diplomacy, medicine, or thievery, or I guess performance, is there one that needs additional coverage?
I'm good at medicine and mediocre at diplomacy.
Same.
Have diplomacy fully trained.
Yeah.
Intimidation, deception, all are good. Performance is good.
So we only have one person chained.
Thievery is good.
Yeah, in thievery. So having a backup there might be good.
Yeah. Yeah, thievery and stealth are probably good ones to have.
I am insane when it comes to skill trained at this point. There's only 4 that I'm not trained in. So
rectify that eventually.
And I get to pick a new one pick one every day to add.
Nice.
So,
well, it switches out every day.
Yeah, I can switch it out every day essentially. All right. So yeah, I'll take thievery.
All right. Everyone can go ahead and take a long rest then. Not that you've used any of your resources, but hey, let's get into the habit.
Ooh, how do I do that?
Top left of your character sheet, right underneath your max hit points, you'll see a button that looks like a person lying in a bed.
Ah.
That is how to rest for the night. And then the teacup next to it after you've rested will do your daily prep. If you really want, you can have it like expend rations. If you've got familiar abilities or your ancestral longevity, you can change that in your daily prep.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. You do not need to make use of rations today, as your rooms do come with breakfast as part of the purchase.
I love how complex this is compared to
So nice.
5e. It's fantastic.
I've thought about if I could run Pathfinder in person, but with the amount of automation Foundry gives me, I couldn't.
Yeah.
I get spoiled by it.
I'm so spoiled.
Well, I mean, you can have Path Builder that helps out.
Yeah,
as well.
but trying to remember all the circumstance, status, item, bonuses, and penalties that could be applicable at any given time would make me go insane.
Yeah.
This keeps track of it for me, and it's a lot easier.
Yeah, and then this is also dumbed down to from
Yeah.
1E2.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So, you guys wake up bright and early in the morning. Are you trying to wake up and be at the gate when sunrise hits and it's opened, or do you want to like wake up at sunrise, take your time eating breakfast, and go in on your own time?
Oh no, early.
I
Yeah,
feel like we're gonna try to get first in line.
yeah, I would vote to try to get in right away.
All right.
I will take the food on the go, I guess.
Send
Yeah.
Brendan ahead to hold our place.
Yeah, Rialto's like, let's go, everybody. You should be up. I've already run 5 miles.
The morning
Ugh.
people will bug the non-morning people.
Right,
Why
let
must
you
you insist so early like this?
because calisthenics only work if they're done before the sun comes up. They don't work otherwise.
That's actually not true. Based on some of the research I've done, they are beneficial anytime.
No. All of my armsmen say that is not true. The calisthenics must be done before the sun comes up.
Perhaps your physiology is different than mine, but I don't think that's true.
We could discuss it while we run. Let's go.
Oh, I assumed yes, of course.
As I'm preparing to make sure I still have the map for us.
Yep. As you guys,
Eat while walking.
there are pretty much every adventuring group who is at the gate first thing in the morning as well. So it is jostling to get into position. But there's like 2 or 3 of the town guard at the gates that are just watching this sea of adventurers salivating to get into the necropolis, and they're just like,
See, we got to wait in line anyways. We could have enjoyed the morning. We could have eaten slowly. We could
You would have been
smoked,
further back in line.
but the line would have moved beforehand.
Well,
Well, we're here now.
Yes. Aren't you glad? Aren't you excited? Look, the sun's about to come up.
I'm not one to be up this early.
Don't worry, my friend. I will get you used to it.
if you want some jerky, I can pull it out of my pack.
What do you guys do in the morning to be this so cheerful?
Calisthenics, I've told you. Come on, I'll wake you up in the morning.
Oh, please.
Potential to learn
please
new
do not.
things.
Right.
Please. No.
We'll have you doing handstand push-ups before you know it.
Oh, what did I get myself into?
as the first rays of sun grace the top of the necropolis walls, the large gates open, and a rush of adventurers begins to push their way in. You guys do notice, without even needing to make perception checks, just keeping an eye out on the adventurers, most of them immediately break out and head in their directions. There are a few groups that you catch that go invisible as soon as they pass the gates.
Ooh.
Fancy.
Like the entire group goes
The
invisible?
entire party goes invisible, yep.
Cleverer.
And most adventuring groups are sized between 3 and 5 people.
That's a lot of people going invisible at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do
Seems
catch
like
a
a
couple
real
of them
waste of
ripping
resources.
scrolls to do so.
Oh.
Some of them appear full mages, you're not entirely sure. Some have wands.
Oh boy.
All right. Let's go.
Yes.
In general, what exploration actions would people like to be taking? So we can go ahead and get that set.
I will be seeking.
Okay.
I will be doing the one that lets me get a free check for traps. Whatever that was.
That's a great question. It might be searching, because searching is making perception checks. Investigate is making recall knowledge checks.
I'm probably
Yes,
defending.
search.
Search.
All right.
Okay.
I'm not sure what my options are.
Yeah. If you hit 1 on your keyboard to open up your compendium browser and go to the abilities page, under the trait section, type in exploration, and that'll list all the exploration actions you can take. You don't necessarily need to look at a lot of them. Your most common ones are going to be like defend, which is keeping a shield raised at all times. Investigate, which is effectively making recall knowledge checks to discover clues as you go. You can avoid notice if you want to be stealthing. You can scout if you want to give everyone a buff to their initiative if they're using perception. Actually, it's just a circumstance bonus to initiative.
I will do the investigate.
Sure. Absolutely.
And is that something that I could then use my... I have a lore skill of warfare to what kind of military leader this guy was once we get in there?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
And then shall we roll for those?
Yes. And Shay, what exploration action would you like to be taking?
I think I'll probably do investigate as well.
Okay. No one's sneaking in this group. Fantastic.
I just don't think I'm going to be very good at that.
That's fair.
I mean, I'm trained, but I'm not very.
Yeah.
And
nothing-
how do
Just a
keen on
giant jackal just walking about.
Oh, you'll see it when I'm actually gonna.
Yeah. If you guys
It's just a hidden perception, right?
this should be hidden perception. Yep. You can use seek on your basic action macros. If you guys hit P on your keyboard to open up the party sheet, that gives like an overview of everyone's skills, languages, and whatnot. There is an exploration tab that you can see what an exploration actions everyone has active, as well as travel speed. And there's a party stash there as well, and that is where I will typically drop loot you guys pick up. All right. All right. And if you'd like to give a recall knowledge roll as well, Apulo,
Yeah.
just for me to keep in mind as you guys are going.
Blind GM roll, right?
Yep.
But my seek is going to be more targeted towards if others are following
Sure.
as best as they can.
Yeah. Apulo, keep in mind you can just use the recall knowledge in the basic action macros. That will include your lore skills, and it will just show every skill on top of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What I'll do.
Do you want me to put that?
I'll send a picture later in the Discord for you guys to see what it actually looks like on my end when you hit recall knowledge.
Cool.
Ysir, you do not clock anyone following you as you guys are going. Most people spread out. You guys are almost heading to the furthest point in. There's maybe one other group that also is heading towards the same cemetery you guys are going to, but stops a little bit earlier in, closer to the entrance than the rest of you do, before another mausoleum. But as you guys approach, you find yourself making your way following the map towards a just rectangular stone mausoleum. Sits alone in what appears to have been the full cemetery at some point. The trunks of a few dead trees sort of poke out of the sand around the tomb. A hot breeze whistles through their desiccated branches. You see a set of massive stone double doors affixed to the northern side of the structure, beneath a facade which bears the likeness of just an Osirion man. Windblown sand is heaped around the crypt, partially burying the doors that lead within.
Are there any signs of like maybe what kind of military commander? Like,
Yeah.
Are there a bunch of horses that might suggest cavalry, or infantry or siege weapons or something along those lines?
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me a perception check here. Getting closer and taking a look. What you can see at first glance is the doors do have words engraved in Osiriani on them, indicating that the deceased interred within was born in 2416 AR and died in 2488 AR, and provides the name Akhentepe.
Right.
Are there markings on around the tomb, or just anything?
Just on the front. The
just on the rest,
surrounding
yes.
walls of the mausoleum are quite blank.
Okay, yeah. So let's sort of make a loop and kind of take a look.
Yeah. As you get a little close, Apollo, to take a look at it, you don't see much depiction on it at all, aside from the likeness of the face on it. But you do notice some things about the door, even without trying to. You notice it seems like the doors are likely set on secret hinges that will swing outwards towards you. There's no handles or anything. It looks like this door, they're like 10 feet tall, solid stone. They were crafted based off of the mortar on the seams and jamb, that these doors should be sealed permanently and not intended to ever be opened again.
Okay. I will definitely relay that to everyone and kind of, let them know that this might not be the easiest nut to crack just to even get inside the building.
There's heavy amounts of sand piled up in front of the door. It's going to take definitely some time at least to even just clear that sand away before you guys try and open the doors themselves.
Okay, so
Okay, we'll go ahead and clear the sand then. Work together.
Yeah.
Sure. It's about 40 minutes of work. It's hot out. It's sweaty. It's not fun labor, but it takes a bit until it's maybe a little after 6:30 in the morning. 6:45 actually, considering the time it took you guys to get to the entrance of the tomb. But you finally cleared the sand away enough that you could probably open the doors. There's no exterior handle. There's no sections that you can see to push on for leverage. It's probably a good thing you guys picked up a crowbar, but I am going to need a general athletics check to get the door open.
All right, I'll pull out the crowbar and I will hand it to
me?
Rielt.
Rielt?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll add a circumstance bonus.
Nope, the crowbar will get rid of a penalty that you would otherwise take.
And I'll say maybe put it right here, and I'll.
You want to aid?
Roll athletics. Yeah,
Go
I'll
for
aid.
it. Absolutely.
Okay.
And I'd say everyone could help aid here if they wanted to see if anyone gets a crit success. But as is, Nekepso would give you a +1 circumstance bonus to your roll.
Okay. All right, let's try. Oh, let's hero point that.
So I will say, before you hero point...
Oh.
I was going to say, you don't necessarily have to hero point this here. There's nothing that is directly forcing you guys on a clock. So there's not really a huge penalty for rolling poorly unless you crit fail, in which case you will make it a bit harder to open in the future and maybe damage your crowbar. So you can just... It's more so just going to be time sink as you continuously try.
Okay, I think Riel's like, no, it's we're almost there.
Okay.
That wasn't the really exact right spot. It wasn't me. I pushed very hard.
Sure. I'll leave it up to you if you want to keep having used the hero point, or make that 18 just your second attempt with some time sink and take the hero point back. I'm fine either way.
Yeah, I'll take the hero point back.
Sure.
And, I'll just keep like that. It's just going to take a moment. Don't worry, my friends.
Takes a little bit of time, a little bit of group effort.
Oh my gosh!
I was
I
going to
would
take that
love to
18
roll
as your
above
second
us. I would love to roll above a 6.
The door is not
Shay
your
just like
friend.
stays back.
It is tough. Trying to wedge it in is not going so well.
Don't worry. I have this really. All those calisthenics. I'm not lying. I know what I'm talking about. There.
There you
Look.
go.
See. Oh.
This time you managed to get it in enough and managed to force the door open. Nikepso, can you... I won't ask for a perception check. You noticed something a bit interesting as you were taking a look for a good place to place the crowbar, Nikepso. There was a reason you thought that was the right spot to put the crowbar, even though it wasn't quite accurate. Because there were signs of a crowbar having already been used in that spot, inserted between the doors.
Someone's been here already.
Okay. Well.
There's crowbar damage there. That wasn't from us.
Should I throw open the doors now? Are you ready? Would you like to stand back a moment?
Yes.
Ready?
You are free to pull the doors open.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Pulling the doors wide so you guys can get a view inside. You find yourself looking into a empty rectangular room, save for some engravings and fixtures upon the walls. There's an immense stone wheel against the south wall. The air itself is stale. A layer of dust and sand covers the stone floor, lying in a much thicker layer to the south. All 4 walls that you can see bear sunk relief engravings and hieroglyphs. Small stone faces are affixed to the walls at about shoulder-length height in each corner. The stone wheel to the south is engraved with a large spiral and seems to be set in stone tracks in the floor and ceiling. No roll needed. That stone spiral, or the spiral in the stone wheel, is very clearly the holy symbol of Pharasma.
Ah. Interesting. Given that this was sealed so long ago. Call everyone forward, and I'll start taking a look at the. Rielt's going to take a look at the walls
Sure.
to see if there's anything there that makes sense.
Absolutely. If you
Are there any footprints?
give me a perception check. And Rielt, you speak ancient Osiriani. You can absolutely just start translating what's on the wall.
Okay.
Nikepso, taking a look around, the dust, the sand, the stale air, there's no footprints you can see. It's very likely that for at the very least a few decades, nothing has entered this room. Reading what is on the wall. You guys are free to step into the room. I don't bite.
Okay.
Come in, spread out, take a look around.
Suddenly spider swarms everywhere.
They
Right.
seem to be a general description of the tomb's occupant's life. Akentepe seems to have been a celebrated commander of Osirion's military who presided over the troops garrisoned in Wati prior to his death. There is a warning written in the hieroglyphics, though. Akentepe's tomb is well defended. Those who defile it tempt the wrath of the gods. The only thing the Lady of Graves despises more than a grave robber is an unsuccessful grave robber. Turn back while you can.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'll translate that for those who don't speak ancient Osiriani. It's interesting that there's the comments from the the Pharasman priesthood when this obviously is... This general died many years before.
Pharasma's warship didn't exclusively arrive in the region when the priests came to revitalize Wati. The warship of Pharasma has existed for very, very long.
Okay. I would have expected worship of the ancients.
I do believe after the curse, they said about reburying some of the disturbed places. It's possible this was one of them. Probable even.
That's true.
So
Well,
do the hieroglyphs look as old as the tomb? Like if we thought someone was here maybe a decade ago, it matches up with like the age of the actual tomb itself, though.
Give me a crafting check. This can be public.
Okay.
Can I assist with that, or
Sure.
aid with that? Sorry.
You can either aid or you can roll separately, your choice.
I don't know how good yours is.
Decent.
I need to keep the party sheet up. Mine's +7.
Yours is better. I will aid you.
All right. Then that is a success, Apollo. So, Shay, that will give you a +1 circumstance bonus to your roll.
All right.
From aid. We love aid. Aid is so fun.
mm-hmm.
Taking a look around, the hieroglyphics appear ancient. They do seem to match the general age you would clock the stone as being. It does not look like these were carved later.
Cool.
Start looking for a way to
Yeah, I mean...
make the spiral move, I guess. It's the only thing in the room.
Yeah.
Lots of work, probably.
Be aware that
So it's just basically like a cover stuff.
They don't want us in here and don't want us taking stuff.
Could someone maybe check to make sure there are no unpleasant surprises associated with the wheel?
I will perceive the wheel.
Nekepso perceives the wheel. It is a wheel. What a beautiful spiral engraved upon it. Nekepso, your attention is more grabbed by the face in this corner instead as you try and take a look at the wheel, because you quickly realize that face sort of protruding from the wall at about shoulder height is a rendition of Anubis.
Ooh. I move closer and read the hieroglyphs around that area.
The hieroglyphs still are talking about the rest of the life. There is one of these faces in each of the four corners, but it looks like that this is a very decorative torch holder that is built in such a way that when you placed a torch within it, a corona of flame from the torch would surround Anubis's head.
So there's a torch holder in all four corners.
Yeah, let's try it.
Should we put our torches?
Light up a torch. And...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have dark vision, so I'd be trying to get torches placed.
Yeah, you can see that the two heads in these corners belong to that of Anubis. The other two in the corners that Shay and Ysir are in seem to belong to Pharasma.
Okay.
The rest.
But
I guess we see if the four torches will do anything.
Yeah.
sure.
I lose a torch.
Yeah.
As you guys are pulling out and lighting up torches, Rial, you are the one not doing so.
Right.
And you notice movement at the entrance of the room.
Look, watch out. And I'll move.
As
We were followed.
the doors themselves aren't open very wide, enough for you guys to get through. It is not a person that comes up to the door, but a small scorpion that starts skittering inside.
Oh, no, you don't.
You can use a nature check to try and chase it off if you'd like. Otherwise, it's going to see you all in the place it wants to take a break from the sun, and we're going to roll initiative.
Well, I'd trade to nature, so I'll at least try to scare it off.
Sure. You take a look at this scorpion and just like try and shoo it away briefly, and it seems to regard you with its beady little eyes, and then starts moving away.
Hey, all right.
Ah,
You can talk with creatures?
no, but if you wave a big stick at them, they get the message.
That's actually usually incorrect.
If somebody waved a big stick at me, I would get the message.
Well, I have a big stick with a chain and a spiked ball. Maybe it's a different message.
Maybe we should close the doors after that. We don't want anyone else.
Keep in
coming
mind, there's no
breath
handles on the
us.
inside.
Yeah.
Well,
Do they enter in or out?
They push
Or open.
outwards, but you're still going to have to try and push them open if you close them here.
Yeah. Maybe
Possible,
we leave
but-
them cracked a little bit, just in case.
maybe slightly smaller than what that thing could come through. That looked pretty big. Do not want.
As you all lit the torches in each of the four corners, though, there is a sound of grinding. The wheel slowly begins to turn
Oh,
and moves along the track very slowly, getting stuck partway, only enough to leave a maybe 5 foot or so gap. But it does open and allow you access into another room.
you guys are geniuses. Look at that. Oh, that is a very deep hole.
You find yourself looking into another room, roughly the same size, if not slightly bigger than the one you were just in, but starkly devoid of any markings or adornment. There's a square shaft in the center of the chamber's floor that drops straight down into darkness. A faint, musty odor sort of rises out of the depths of this pit. You see a single python that's been hammered into the stone floor by the northeast corner of the pit, with a dusty length of rope dangling maybe 5 feet or so into the pit from it.
We see the end of the rope, or does it go down into the darkness?
Nope, the rope actually only extends about 5 feet into the shaft, and it looks like it has been cut at the end.
Okay. Is there anything above the shaft?
Like on the ceiling of the room you're in?
Yeah.
Nope. It is.
Okay.
This room is darkly empty aside from the pit.
Do we drop a torch
Anyone-
down there?
I
Can anyone
could send
cast
Brendan
light
down
or-
carrying one.
Oh,
Yeah.
even better.
Absolutely.
She does. You can see the little hands at the ends of her wings. She can hold the torch, kind of, or a candle.
Here. And I'll light a torch and hold it up.
Brendan, are you okay with going into the dark hole? I mean, yes, Brendan, go check out the dark hole.
Good, you're learning. Okay. Am I taking a light with me or no?
Well, you can't see when it's pitch dark, so I suppose. But then that make you a target, so maybe you shouldn't. Huh.
Someone hand me a light.
What?
Here.
Thank you. The winged serpent will take the light and instead of holding it in her hands, kind of coil around with the end of her tail around the torch and then begin to descend in the darkness, and you all watch the torch descend 20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet. 60 feet is how deep the shaft appears to be. As Renan gets to the bottom, takes a look around, drops the torch, and then flies back up towards you all and leaves the burning torch on the bottom floor. Well, small room, doors to the west, body on the floor.
A body on the floor, you say?
Oh, very dead.
Oh. Decayed? Is it bones or
I
is there
can
skin
take
still?
a long look.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Of course. Everyone, there's a body on the floor. You guys can understand. Never mind.
What language does Renan speak?
Oh, that is a good question. Because I think it's only one of mine.
It is only one of yours.
I feel like I probably would have talked her into speaking the common tongue for this place.
Sure, Osirion.
Because it'll probably be more useful, yeah.
Absolutely. Technically, you could change that every day when you
yeah
choose.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I figured normally would have been my native tongue, but considering one of the benefits of her being able to talk is that she can talk to everyone.
Sure.
Might be better.
Well,
Right.
does anyone know how to tie a knot?
I'd like to examine the rope. Did it fray or did someone cut it?
Give me a perception check or crafting, your choice.
That'd be perception.
All right. You grab the rope to take a look at it and quickly realize just how rotted the rope is as it begins to crumble as you handle it. But before you lose it, you are able to clearly see the end of the rope was cut.
Okay.
Perhaps the body fell because his quote-unquote friends cut it.
Yeah,
he
it
could
might
get
have
to the
been
top.
a group that didn't want to share all the loot that they took out of here, so maybe they left one behind.
Came to that assumption very quickly.
Yeah.
We should.
People are kind of bastards sometimes.
I was mostly making sure that you weren't thinking about doing that.
Oh, no.
Okay, good.
That's
Well,
not my style.
We should recall that there were automated guardians. Perhaps
So-
there is some creature that, protects the pit.
That's a good idea. I did not think about that.
Clearly did not attack your...
Did
Pet
we, when
there.
Rena was carrying the torch down, did we see if there was any holes in the walls or anything that looked out of the ordinary?
Not that you could see. It appeared to be just a solid shaft.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here, I have 50 feet of rope. If someone else can tie onto, we can have an extra. And
I have rope as well.
I have rope
Me
in my
too.
hand at the moment, and I asked if anyone knew how to tie a knot.
Does anyone have a climbing kit specifically? Just wondering.
Do not.
no.
Nope.
Interesting. Good to know.
Rena, fly back to
strong.
town and get a climbing kit.
No.
How
So-
tall's the ceiling in here?
10 feet.
Is it also basically solid stone?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna check the python and make sure that it's in there. Well,
Yeah. The one that the rotten rope is attached to, or the one you're attaching?
the rotten. I don't have one, so
That's fair.
Yeah,
I'd assume at the
maybe,
very least, if everyone has, like, with your rope, you probably have 1 or 2 pythons with it. Not enough
Okay.
for full climbing capacity, but enough to anchor the rope in place somewhere.
okay. Then
I'm not going to
Yeah,
force you
I'll-
guys to go back to town this early to get a python.
yeah, I'll anchor a new python.
Sure. The other one appears solidly in there.
Okay. I'll anchor a new one anyway.
Sure.
And-
Yeah, maybe we. Oop, nope, that is not what I want at all.
Drops an AoE down. Fantastic.
It's a grenade.
Usually you wait for the treasure before you betray everyone.
Nice.
We found the place. The soul will be mine.
Exactly. Maybe whoever we lower down first, we attach a rope to them from both sides, just to be safe, in case it was not a nefarious person at the top, but something in the shaft.
Sure.
Yes, I will volunteer to go first.
Okay.
Oh, good.
I'll help hold one of the ropes.
Me too.
Sure.
I'll watch.
Good idea. Good idea. I too shall look.
So, to make sure I understand that correctly, are you guys anchoring 2 ropes up top that he's attached to, or just 1?
2.
2 in total.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was going to be my
Gotcha.
idea.
I'm not climbing, you're just lowering me, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Make a little harness.
How long are you guys making these ropes? Because you know it is 60 feet from the ground here to the floor down there, but I don't know if you want to leave any slack or anything.
Yeah. So we need some slack. So maybe between the ropes we have, we can make 200-foot ropes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Leave you guys with about 50 feet total for your exploration, but make sure you've hopefully got some slack here.
Yeah. And if we need to, we can always
Go
untie
by
one.
more.
Untie one.
All right. Then
Cool.
as you all lower Nikepso down into the darkness... Now, Nikepso, I don't believe you have dark vision or anything, correct?
The torch is lit down there.
There
right?
is a torch on the ground, yes. Then I will go ahead.
I can light a torch as well.
Okay, up to you if you want to.
I'm holding that and my crowbar for now.
Sure. I will put the torch on you at the moment, and I will pull you specifically to the scene. As you find yourself lowered into a just relatively small room, mirrored images on the walls of a warrior in side profile are carved onto, or not on the wall, sorry, on a pair of ornate stone doors to the west end of the room. The figure depicted wearing what looks to be padded armor, a scarab-shaped shield on one arm that faces you, and a raised khopesh held aloft in the other. There's a crumpled humanoid body lying directly in front of the doors, a hint of decay sort of hanging in the air and tickling your nostrils, a dried stain marring the stone floor underneath the body. The ceiling is about 10 feet above you still, so it is a square room, 20 feet by 20 feet by 10 feet up, with then the pit in the ceiling that leads up into the shaft.
Alright, I will use the crowbar to roll the body onto its back.
Sure. The body's mostly skeletal. There's a thin layer of desiccated tissue atop it at the moment. You can give me a medicine check if you'd like to go ahead and take a look at what the body might be. Okay. Definitely a male, either human or half elf. You can see that both legs are broken, probably from a fall from a great height. And it seemed like whoever this was crawled to the doors before he died. You, at a quick glance, can see that most of the gear is rotten and rusted and mostly unusable. but that's just a quick glance of the corpse. You could do a more thorough search if you'd like, or after you call everyone down.
Yeah, so let's... Ysir, should we lower you next? And then Shael.
I'm gonna try and listen at the door first.
Sure. Give me a perception check.
I will not open it until everyone's down here, but maybe I can give us some forewarning.
Silence.
I'll wave everyone down and then begin searching the body.
All right. I'll go ahead and
Well,
just
let's-
activate the map for everyone to come down. You don't have to... We can say you're
Yeah.
lowering one by one, but it is easy enough with the ropes set up for you guys to get down.
Yeah.
As a group.
Did we put knots every few feet to make it easier to climb?
I think with the 100 feet of rope, you could have definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Taking a look over the body, a couple things on it do seem usable. There is at least partial climbing kit. Some of the pythons and a hammer appear still usable and not heavily damaged by rust. So, hey, you guys don't need to go buy a climbing kit. You've got a partial one here.
Ah, cool.
Taking a look at the armor this guy is wearing is kind of interesting. It is what looks to be just like a suit of regularly padded armor at first, but has a hat and mesh netting around the brim going down to the neck. Specifically, this would be armor called a swarm suit, meant to help protect oneself against swarms of insects.
Okay.
You also find
Interesting.
2 sealed ceramic jars on his person that both have what seems to be an alchemical symbol engraved upon the side of it. You're not sure what these are. These would need to be identified, but I don't think anyone here has an alchemist toolkit with which they could identify these.
Okay. Toss those in the party stash and give
Could I
the
do a
climbing
medicine
kit
check to see how long ago
Shiloh.
this guy died?
Sure.
I would like to do the same.
It's hard to tell. The body's mostly skeletal with just that little bit of tissue on it still. Definitely decades, but like an exact amount of time is hard to tell.
That's okay. I was mostly seeing if it was in the last couple of weeks or
Definitely
1,000
not
years.
recent.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Toss the
definitely not recent.
climbing gear to Riel. Go.
Okay. Thank you.
That's all in the stash right now, so if anyone needs it at any point, they can go grab it.
Shall we?
Okay, yeah. So check the doors. Riel will come forward and take a good look at the doors and see if there's anything weird about them.
Sure. Aside from the decoration on the doors, nothing odd about it that you can tell.
Okay.
Outer in.
Wait.
Can we
Before
tell?
you open, let me take a listen.
Okay.
They push
Sure.
in towards you.
Okay.
I'll walk up with the brassiere up on it, see if I heard anything.
Sure. Give me a perception check. I'm also at this point going to ask for the general perception checks from Ysir, and I guess we're in like dungeon exploration mode, so exploration actions are a little bit more wishy-washy, and it's more you guys do things like this. When you enter rooms, when you get to doors, you specifically let me know you want to search for things, and that is when I will directly call for perception rolls. Silent beyond the door, Ysir. Everything remains
So,
quiet.
sounds
Do you want
pretty
me
quiet
to
to me.
continually ask about the military lore?
I will ask for it when it becomes important. If you actually, this would be a good time where it's kind of important, taking a look at the depiction on the wall, or on the doors. You're more than welcome to make another recall knowledge roll for me.
Do I need to make another perception for the general one?
No, because we're in general dungeon exploration terms now, so I know what your exploration action is. So Nekepso and Yasir, you guys are going to be the primary ones making. But when you enter rooms, when you come to doors, I am going to leave it on you guys to let me know when you specifically want to be making perception checks. Otherwise, I'm going to go off of those base rolls you gave me earlier.
Okay.
Still, because we have not had an encounter since, so I'm still just going to go with those basic rolls. Taking a look at the doors, Apollo, it's pretty just general, common. The depiction is of a typical ancient Osirian soldier. Shield in hand, Kopesh as a weapon, padded armor, very, very classical. Nothing really to gain from it, though.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I attempt to open the door.
You fool. It opens just fine.
Hmm.
It's a corridor. 10, 14 feet wide, maybe. Bas relief carvings of what appear to be great battles along the wall. Armies with spears and shields clashing at the direction of generals, while other leaders direct troops from chariots that are ruthlessly overrunning their enemies. Engraved double doors stand at the other end of the hallway.
Do any of the combatants appear to be mechanical, or are they all humanoid?
They all appear humanoid. Mortal, we'll say.
Okay.
Yay.
I'm gonna take.
I would like to search for a trap.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a good look at the floor here.
Go for it. Nobody picked up the 10-foot pole on your way here. That's what you forgot to get.
Right.
I have a 3-foot staff.
Ooh. Nekepso, you got lucky. Right before the other door, you see a slightly raised section of the ground.
Alright. I will hold up my arm. Your plate. I'll point it out. 2 pressure plates, right?
One big pressure plate.
Oh, okay.
Can you disarm it?
I will examine it closely.
Yeah. With your perception check, you can see both the pressure plate and along the walls on either side, small holes that would be very classical for things like iron bolts to be shot out of. So you could plug those holes up. You could try and lock up the pressure plate. Either of those would use thievery and would be solid ways to try and disable
device.
it. Yeah.
Do the holes extend back here?
Yes, they are all along the hallway. It seems that
when
you
go back. I'll deal with this.
Yeah. It seems
It
very
requires
designed.
second hands.
Is it small enough that it'd be easy to jump over?
You guys could all jump over it probably without too much issue. But it's if you think you'll remember it on your way back out, then.
Right. Let's maybe just fix it.
I mean, I have some chalk in my pack. We can just draw on the floor and put like the word trap on it.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I was thinking it might be handy in case we're being chased out of here, to use it to our advantage if something is chasing us eventually.
Maybe
Yeah,
we
that's not bad, dude.
shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't write trap on it. Instead, more of just a marking that we all know, just in case if someone else comes in after.
If you wanted, I could write the word trap in a different language, you wouldn't understand it. But I feel like if you saw like a diabolic symbology on the floor, it would remind you that there's a deadly trap in front of there. And I
Yes.
don't think that machines would speak diabolic.
That would be great.
Maybe we could do something with ancient Osirion. Say that it opens door.
Oh. Oh, so we lie. That makes sense. Yes. Okay. I can't write that, but I have chalk, so you can write that.
Well, I don't know how to write that at all.
Oh,
I just assumed everyone did except for me. My apologies.
I will write. And I'll take the chalk and write welcome in ancient Osirian across the two plates, or across the two tiles right here in front of the plate.
Sure. You want to write it on the tiles in front of the plate? Or on the plate?
I don't want to put any weight on the plate.
That is fair.
Sneaky DM.
And then I will jump across the 5 feet and put it on that side.
Sure. You can move across now. I just have a stop there to force you guys to stop moving because I have a trap there. What fun.
And then welcome on this side as well.
Okay.
All right. Listen at the door.
Sure. Nothing.
And open the door.
Find yourself looking into a chamber. Faded tapestry hanging on a wooden frame against the western wall. It's delicate but heavily faded, but you can still see it seems to depict a middle-aged man accompanied by a woman and 2 children with a small estate in the background. To either side of the tapestry are 2 small pedestals upon which sit 2 dead and preserved animals. Double doors lead to the north and south from this room as well.
Do we know what animals they are? Or are they in like...
Oh, it's pretty obvious. They're mummified cats.
Are these torch holders in the corners?
They are. Good old sconces.
Okay. And are there any writings on the doors to the north or the south?
Not that you can see, no.
Okay. And the tapestry, I'm going to go take a closer look at it to see if there's any, small hieroglyphs or anything written into it.
Give me a society check.
Are the sconces empty?
They are. It's a nice tapestry. It's heavily faded. Probably not worth anything at this point. You don't catch anything about it that seems interesting to you.
Okay.
Would it be possible to look behind the tapestry without disturbing this dead cat?
That might be challenging. You could disturb the tapestry.
I'm not that curious. That's how these curiosity got these cats already.
Well, we don't know that. Okay.
Left or right?
I think we should look behind. And I'll reach out with, I guess the blunt end of a javelin and lift up the tapestry to see if there's any writing on the back wall.
Ooh, you fool. Foolish, foolish fool. It's a wall. There's nothing on
It's
it.
a wall. Okay.
What does it mean?
It's blank.
Maybe
The
the writing is
numbers
invisible.
mean Mason.
Maybe we should go right.
It's always right to go right.
Is that what it is?
It's
That's actually not true.
It is. It's in the name. It is always right to go right.
A staircase heads down before another set of double doors.
They really like the doors here.
They really do.
And the door maker made a lot of profit on this place. Let's just say that.
Should... Yes.
You said stairs going down?
Yep. Maybe 8 feet or so down. They're not steep steps.
All right.
Huzzah!
A room!
Pretty brave.
A big room. I mean, first and foremost, center of this room, that is a brightly painted chariot sitting on the ground. Behind it, large canvas stretches between 2 stone-looking columns. You can see the skins of several animals, antelope, cat, crocodiles, heavily faded and deteriorated with age at this point, tacked to the canvas. As you step in, there's a chest. Lacquered with white, trimmed with gold inlay sitting in the corner on the ground. In each other corner is a small stone shield that you know is now a sconce in the room. There's an open hallway leading to the east and the double doors you just came through. As you come up and take a look through the next area, the hall itself is relatively small, but you can see 4 what look to be funerary masks hanging on the walls, staring down as if in judgment on anyone in the corridor.
Ooh, I want to see those.
Check this chest for traps.
Sure, go for it.
You said this chariot is painted on the floor?
No, the chariot itself, it's a full-ass chariot, but it's painted very nicely. Nikepso, no traps that you can see on the chest. It does appear locked, though.
There are numerous other chests in here, too.
I gotta pause real quick since Rialt moved into the next room.
Oh.
Because some things are gonna happen.
What have you done?
I was just keeping watch to make sure no one surprised you while you were looking.
As you enter that room and take a look around, it is a large room. There's a table displaying a 3-dimensional diorama occupying most of the northern side of the room. 3 shields with different designs are displayed on a rack against the eastern wall. Various weapons hang from an actual weapon rack along the south wall. 5 small chests and a clay urn are arrayed around the room as well. But as you take all this in, look north, east, south, west, your eyes settle back to the north again. The dolls in that diorama just moved.
Oh.
And that's where we're going to end the session for tonight.
Ah.
Thank you guys so
Nice.
much for playing. I hope you
Hey.
enjoyed.
That was great.
Absolutely. Awesome.
And next session, we will have our first real combat as the diorama attacks you.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So,
Thanks for logging in from a cruise ship.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem.
glad to have you here. And with that, I hope you all enjoyed. I'm excited to see what happens next, and I will see you all next week.
All right.
Have a good one.
Have a good
I'll
one.
remember
Thanks
next
a lot.
week this time.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.